So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for keeping your date with me for the 23rd year in succession. On the face of it, it looks as if our market has slowed down. But dig a little deeper and you will find a lot indeed has happened in the advertising world. Over the next 30 minutes, I will walk you through some of the critical aspects of what has changed. We'll break it down in terms of first, what broke. Traditional media did have a challenge. Second, what scaled. Digital is now the absolute majority in real terms, and the three explosive engines that power its growth. And lastly, what still matters, the enduring fundamentals that determine long-term success regardless of which channel rises or falls. India's advertising market can be viewed through two lenses, and both tell us an important story. The legacy definition that we have been using all along shows a total ADEX of 1.15 lakh crores, growing 7%. Traditional commands a 54% share and digital 46%. This view allows us to compare year-on-year trends with the earlier years. However, this year onwards, we have expanded the definition to include e-commerce advertising and MSME digital spends. Including these two, total ADEX is now 1.55 lakh crores, growing at 12%. Traditional is now just 40% of the market and digital 60%. If you back calculate the addition, digital share has grown from 52% in 23 to 55% in 24 and 60% in 25. So this is the new reality in 2025, which we have to recognize. India's advertising market structure is still unique but slowly catching up with global trends. Worldwide advertising reached 1.19 trillion in 2005, with digital holding a 79% share. With our broader definition, including Q-commerce and MSME, India's digital rises to 60%, narrowing the gap with global figures of 79%. So advertisers must adopt global strategies for India, leveraging current traditional strengths but preparing for rapid digital growth. India must follow its own path, more balanced but converging fast with global digital patterns. The shift from traditional to digital, of course, didn't happen overnight. It's been a decade-long reallocation. In 2016, traditional commanded 85% share and digital just 15%. By 2019, digital had crossed 20%. By 23, it reached 40%. And now, with the expanded definition, it has reached 60%. 2020 was the pandemic crash, but digital still grew at 10%, whilst traditional fell 29%. The recovery in 21-22 lifted both. From 23 onwards, the divergence widened. 2005 is the first year traditional fell in absolute terms even as the market grew. So, who's driving the shift? Let us look at India's top advertisers. India's advertising market is highly concentrated in the hands of a few, and the biggest spenders already seem to have made digital their pivot. Amongst the top 50 advertisers, digital accounts for 58% of the mix, TV accounts for 32%, and other media just 10%. For India's largest spenders, digital is already the default planning spine. TV is now a high impact selective layer, not the starting point. Within the top 50, we see three distinct playbooks. FMCG has 16 advertisers with a 50-47 split between TV and digital. Auto has 8 advertisers with 45% digital, 16% TV, and 39% in other media, making auto truly a champion of multimedia. And e-commerce has 6 advertisers with 76% digital and 21% TV. Each sector is building its own system, but note, all are digital majority. The top 10 advertisers operate with 61% digital share. So if digital scaling and top advertisers are pivoting, what broke? 2025 was the year the great reallocation became undeniable. On the legacy definition, traditional fell 739 crores while digital added 8,000 crores. So digital delivered 110% more than offsetting traditional decline. On the expanded definition, the story is even starker. Traditional fell the same, 739 crores, but digital added 16,895 crores, 105% growth. Advertisers are not just now experimental with digital, they are cutting traditional budgets in absolute terms and moving their money to digital. India, you could say, has shifted from expansion to reallocation. The clearest example of this is in linear TV. Linear TV experienced its steepest annual decline in 2025, and the volume crash reveals what's really happening. TV ADEX fell from 34,453 crores to 32,855 crore, down 1,589 crore, or a 5% share of total ADEX dropped. From 32 to 28, we lost 488 active advertisers. This is on top of last year's loss of several hundred more. In terms of ad volumes, fell 10% from 2,134 million seconds to 1,913 million seconds. So value down 5%, volume down 10% on TV. Advertisers seem to be cutting cheap tonnage, not abandoning the screen. They are moving away from low attention commodity GRPs towards measurable high impact environments. TV isn't dead. Linear TV is being replaced by large screens, which includes CTV. In terms of genreships, sports has certainly and decisively moved up. Commodity GEC, news, movies are under pressure. The advertiser, it appears, is willing to pay more for higher attention. FMCG removed 779 crores from traditional media in 25, the largest single category relocation. TV bore the brunt. FMCG spend fell 670 crores from 8,553 crores to 15,183 crores, a 4% decline, but it accounts for 42% of the total TV decline. Print saw FMCG cut 78 crores and radio lost another 31 crores, totaling to 779 crores removed from traditional. Why did this happen? The downtrading crisis, 4% urban growth, but 8% unbranded surge as consumers seem to be trading down. Second, structural efficiency pressures. FMCG realized blanket mass coverage wasn't delivering ROI. Better alternatives emerged. Sports for high attention impact, retail media for conversion, QCOM for trial and repeat, and performance digital for precision. FMCG isn't spending less overall. They are reallocating from GEC tonnage to IPL and Cricket World Cup, from print reach to Amazon and Flipkart shelf visibility, from radio frequency to Blinkit and Zepto Insta trial. This is the end of blanket mass coverage as a strategy, and just when digital seemed unstoppable, Q4 delivered a shock. Digital's 18% decline in Q4 was the biggest quarterly reversal we have seen in recent times, and it reveals how uncomfortable truths, volatility, and regulatory risks can be. Q1 saw explosive growth, digital up 50% year on year, driven by election spending and e-commerce's summer surge. Q2 sustained the momentum at 21%. Q3 saw festive and preparing for a 33% growth, but Q4 collapsed. Digital fell 18% year on year from 13,588 crores to 11,144 crores. With real money gaming banned, we see that the fastest growing advertiser went from a major spender to near zero overnight. If your 26 plan assumes even quarterly pacing, tear it up. Plan for H1 strength, Q3 festive surge, and Q4 pullback. And build regulatory scenario planning into every category. Traditional media has its own uneven story. Print actually grew, but with a twist. Print delivered positive growth in 25, 594 crores, up 3%, but its Q4 dependent category, selective, language segmented story, print ADEX reached 20,866 crores, up from 20,272 crore. Share dropped 1 point from 19% to 18%, and volume was essentially flat. 31% of print's annual ADEX came in quarter 4. Look at the quarterly progression. Quarter 1 was plus 1%, quarter 2 was plus 1%, quarter 3 was plus 3%, and then quarter 4 was plus 5%. Quarter 4 alone added 340 crores of growth, but out of the total 594 crores. Remove quarter 4 and print was barely positive. Festive year-end campaigns, auto model launches, real estate project launches, BFSI, tax-saving products, these are inherently quarter 4 heavy categories, and print to them is their credibility medium. English editions are the growth engine in print. Regional editions are under pressure. And category-wise, auto led with plus 8%, BFSI and fashion grew 7%, retail added 4%, all compensating for FMCG's 3% decline. Print is surviving on selective, high-involvement, credibility-driven categories, not mass reach. Radio, meanwhile, has completed its transformation into a tactical medium. Radio's power is no longer national presence, it's local bursts in city amplification. Radio ADEX in 2025 was 2,515 crores and our 26 forecast is 2,388 crore, down 5%. Share dropped from 1.62% to a projected 1.37%. Radio is shrinking slowly but consistently. Radio has pivoted from being a national coverage medium to a tactical localized amplifier. Brands use radio for frequency in specific cities around specific windows. Real estate project launches in Bangalore, auto dealership events in Pune, education admission drives in Tier 2 cities. It's not about sustaining national presence anymore. It's about tactical bursts. Real estate and auto led radio investments. FMCG seems to be pulling back. And like print, radio is heavily quarter 4 dependent. 30% of annual ADEX came in quarter 4, driven by year-end localized campaigns. Radio still works, but for defined jobs, frequency, locality, cost efficiency. It's not now in the core plan, it's in the tactical toolkit. Let me pull together the traditional media story. First is absolute decline. Traditional ADEX fell 739 crores, a negative of 1%. This is the first absolute decline in the post-pandemic recovery. It marks the end of the expansion phase. Linear TV structural collapse. TV fell 1589 crores, down 5%, but volumes fell 10%. That's advertisers cutting cheap tonnage, GRPs that don't deliver attention or outcomes. The screen still matters, but linear seems to be collapsing. FMCG's historic pullback, 779 crores removed from traditional by FMCG, 42% of TV decline. This is reallocation, not budget cuts. Money moved to sports, retail media, Q-commerce, and performance digital. Quarter 4 digital volatility. Digital fell 18% in quarter 4 due to the RMG regulatory shock and budget fatigue. This is a warning. Digital is volatile, front-loaded, and vulnerable to policy. Regulatory risks. The RMG shock showed policy can erase 2,500 plus crores of ADEX overnight. DPDP Phase 2 category specific curbs, platform taxation all loom as structural risks. That's what broke. Now let's talk about what scaled. Hopefully, it's a far more optimistic story. On the expanded definition, which includes QCOM and MSME, look at the progression. 52% in digital in 23, 55 in 24, and now 60% in 2025. We crossed the majority in 24 and consolidated it this year. Traditional is now just 40% of the market. Why this matters? 60% digital is not a gradual evolution. It's a structural breakpoint. It demands different organizational structures, different talent, different planning methodologies, different measurement systems. You can't run a 60% digital market with a TV first planning process. The spine has to flip. What's driving this? 3 explosive engines. Q-commerce, MSME, and CTV are the 3 growth engines that powered digital from 55 to 60% in a single year. Quick commerce advertising went from 300 crores in 23 to 1325 crores in 24, up 342%, and then to 4,000 crores in 25, up another 20%. That's 1233% growth in 2 years. Platforms like Blinkit, Zepto, and Swiggy, Instamart have moved from experiential to mandatory infrastructure. MSME digital spending was 24,300 crores in 23, 29,000 crores in 24, and 35,814 crores in 25, growing at 32% almost throughout these years. Connected TV went from roughly 3,000 crores in 2024 to 6,000 crores in 25, near doubling. We've expanded the CTV definition to include YouTube CTV alongside OTT CTV, and the category is scaling fast. Meanwhile, linear TV fell 1598 crores, but when you add CTV, the total large screen linear plus CTV grew from 37,000 crores to 38,855 crores, up 3.6%. This is video budget redistribution, not video budget collapse. Let me now zoom in on MSME because it's the most underestimated force by all of us in Indian advertising. MSME digital spend is 35,814 crore, larger than print, nearly as large as linear TV, and it's reshaping the entire digital ecosystem. 35,814 crores, that's 38% of total digital ADEX on the expanded definition. Q-commerce adds another 4,000 crores. Together, MSME plus Q-commerce represents 43% of total digital, almost half. MSME digital is bigger than print at 20,866 crores. It's bigger than radio, cinema, and OOH combined, and it's approaching linear TV at 32,000 crores. First, they drive auction dynamics. MSME bids aggressively, pushing up CPMs and CPCs for everyone. Second, they shape platform roadmaps. Google and Meta build features for MSME advertisers as much for big brands. Third, they set performance benchmarks. MSME operates at 2 to 3x ROAS thresholds, and that becomes the industry norm. MSME is performance first, self-serve, auction-based, always-on, and agile. They optimize weekly, not quarterly. They don't care about brand metrics. They care about ROI, period. And they're growing 21% annually. The MSME universe is invisible in most agency presentations, but it's 38% of digital ADEX and rising. Ignoring it means misunderstanding the market. QCOM is equally explosive but more visible. Quick commerce advertising went from 300 to 4,000 crores in 2 years and is projected to hit 6,000 crores in 26. That's a 1900% increase in 3 years. Q-commerce is not just fast delivery, it's a full funnel advertising system, discovery, consideration, and instant purchase, all in one ecosystem. Blinkit, Zepto, Swiggy, Instamart are running banner ads, category sponsorships, search ads, and sampling programs. FMCG brands are using quick-commerce for instant trial, new product launches, and promotional velocity. Q-commerce has graduated from side node to structural engine. It's larger than cinema, it's approaching O8 scale, and by 2027 will be bigger than radio. This is mandatory infrastructure now, not an experimental channel. Q-commerce sits within the broader retail media revolution. E-commerce plus Q-com reached 14,257 crores in 25, adding 4,864 crores year on year, more than 3 times what linear TV lost. E-commerce advertising within core digital reached 10,527 crores, up 27% from 8,000 crores. Q-commerce added 4,000 crores, up 202%. Combined, that's 14,425 crores, growing 52% and representing 27% of core digital ADEX. Linear TV fell 1598 crores. E-commerce plus Q-com added 4,864 crores. Why retail media matters? 3 reasons. First, full funnel capability, awareness, consideration, and purchase in one system. Second, closed loop measurement. You see exact sales lift from ad spend. Third, proximity to money. Retail media connects advertising directly to the cash register. Brands now face an explicit choice. Lead, build proprietary retail media capabilities, negotiate prime placement, test aggressively. Follow, match competitive spend, maintain visibility, or consciously abstain with a clear rationale. Standing on the sidelines with a strategy is itself a decision, and it has consequences. Let's talk about large screen resilience. TV is dead, long live the large screen. Linear is declining, but the screen is growing. Linear TV fell from 34,453 crores to 32,000 odd crores, down 4.6%. CTV doubled from 3,000 crores to 6,000 crores, up 100%. Large screen grew from 37,000 to 38,000, up 3.7%, and our 2026 forecast has large screen reaching 40,855, growing another 5%. Video budgets are not disappearing, they are redistributing across delivery pipes from linear broadcasts to IP delivered connected TV and digital video on mobile. OTT and YouTube advertisers are paying for high attention, measurable environments instead of cheap GRP tonnage. The screen still matters. The way it's delivered is what's changing. One, attention at scale, talking about 4 reasons why the large screen still endures. Attention at scale. Only large screen delivers sustained attention to millions simultaneously. 2, memory building, high recall environments for brand messaging. 3, sports power, IPL, Cricket World Cup, Olympics drive premium inventory and premium pricing. 4, premiumization, the shift from commodity GRPs to targeted, measurable, high-yield impressions. So the strategic implication to my mind is to treat linear TV and CTV as one large screen bucket, decide what spend level, category, restage, geographic, large screen becomes non-negotiable, then allocate between linear and CTV based on yield, targeting and measurement needs. CTV deserves its own moment because how fast it's scaling. We've expanded the CTV definition this year to include YouTube CTV alongside OTT CTV, and the category is now 6,000 crores, growing 33% annually. The evolution, 2024, 3,000 crores, about 2.2% of ADEX. 2025, 6,000 crore, 3.9% of ADEX. And 2006 forecast, 8,000 crores and 4.6% of ADEX. YouTube on connected TV screens behaves exactly like OTT. IPP delivered, measurable, targetable, non-linear. So we've included it. For comparability, we've restated 2024 with expanded definition as well. CTV is not a niche anymore. It's a 6,000 crore category scaling at 33% annually, and it represents the premium measurable end of video advertising. Advertisers are actively choosing CTV over linear, not because the screen changed, but because the experience and measurement did. Now, one traditional medium did grow. What is that? OH. OH grew 4% in 25 when traditional overall fell 1%, making it the only traditional medium that scaled. OH ADEX reached 4,835 crores in 25 and is forecast to hit over 5,000 crores in 26, growing 5% share. Share is modest, 3.12% in 25, 2.91% in 26, but the growth trajectory is positive. Why did OH grow? 3 drivers. 1, real estate. OH surged from 1,007 crore to 1,206 crore, up 20%. Metro launches luxury residential projects. Commercial real estate drove hyper-local dominance strategies. 2. BFSI added modest but steady OH spending. 3. Premiumization and DOH out of home formats command higher rates and better targeting. OH is about urban visibility, site level presence, and brand authority. It's the offline anchor in a digital majority world. Real estate uses OH to mark territory around project sites. BFSI uses it for trust and salience at high traffic urban nodes, and auto uses it as part of multimedia consideration journey. Let's look at the category winners across TV and print. Categories are making explicit choices: who's investing, who's pulling back, and where's the money going. FMCG dominates at 46% share, but it fell 670 crores, accounting for 42% of TV's decline. E-commerce is second at 16% share, also down 238 crores. Auto held steady with a marginal 15 crores increase. Real estate, household durables, BFSI, telecom all declined. TV is under pressure across the board. Print top categories. Auto led print growth with 233 crores, up 8%, representing 15% of print ADEX. BFSI grew 92 crores, up 7%. Real estate added 48 crores, showing digital native brands embracing print for credibility. But FMCG cut 78 crores and education pulled back 36 crores. High involvement credibility, heavy considered purchase categories, auto, BFSI, real estate are investing in print and selectively OH. FMCG is cutting traditional broadly and relocating to digital, sports, and retail media. E-commerce is experimenting with print for trust building as competitive intensity rises. To summarize what I've just said, 5 forces have powered from growth from 55% to 60%. India at 60% digital. On the expanded definition, digital reached 93,156 crores, 60% share, growing 22%. Traditional fell to 40% share. Digital majority has arrived. 3 explosive engines which I spoke about: QCOM at 4,000 crores, up 202%, MSME at 35,814 crores, up 21%, and CTV 6,000 crores, up 100%. These 3 alone added over 10,000 crores to digital ADEX. Point 3, retail media revolution. E-com plus QCom reached 14,257 crores, growing 52%, adding 4,864 crore year on year. That's more than 3 times what linear TV lost. Large screen resilience. Despite TV falling 5%, large screens grew 3.7% to 38,855 crores. Video budgets are redistributing, not disappearing. The only traditional medium that grew, powered by real estate's 20% surge and urban premiumization, was OH. So that's what scaled. Now, what still matters? In a 60% digital market, the temptation is to declare TV dead. But large screen, linear screen plus CTV is a 38,855 crore system in 2005, growing to 40,000 in 26. The screen matters after all. The delivery pipe is what is changing. 4 reasons why large screen endures. 1. Attention at scale. Only large screen delivers sustained passive attention to millions. You can't replicate what TikTok or Instagram. 2. Memory building, high recall, lean back environments build mental availability that makes search, social, e-commerce more efficient. 3. Sports power. IPL, Cricket World Cup, Olympics command premium audiences and premium pricing. 4. Premiumization. The shift from cheap GEC tonnage to targeted, measurable, high-yield sports and tentpole properties. Sports is growing in share and pricing. Commodity, GEC movies and news are under pressure. The future of large screen is impact properties, high engagement tentpoles, not continuous low attention GRPs. So, the planning mandate should be treat linear TV and CTV as one large screen bucket, where large screen becomes non-negotiable based budget category, stage, geography and competitive context. Then allocate between linear and CTV based on yield, targeting capability and measurement needs. And in a performance obsessed market, brand building still matters. In a 60% digital market, the temptation to over-index on performance is high. But performance without brand is a sugar high. It delivers short-term sales at escalating costs. Media must deliver across 3 jobs: attention, getting noticed in fragmented environments, and memory building, mental availability, and brand associations. Response: converting intent into action. Performance media handles response brilliantly, but without attention and memory, response becomes increasingly expensive. Why brand building endures? 3 reasons. 1. Digital performance depends on brand equity. Brands with higher awareness and favorability get better click-through rates, conversion rates, and lower costs per acquisition. Large screen builds mental availability that makes search, social, and e-commerce more efficient. 3. Long-term growth requires both short-term activation and long-term brand building. Brands that maintain brand building investments through downturns recover faster. The 60-40 rule, roughly 60% brand building, 40% activation, remains the evidence-based benchmark for sustainable growth. The top 50 advertisers maintain large screen plus digital systems, not either or. They understand that digital drives response, but large screen drives the equity that makes digital efficient. This brings me to the next principle: allocation over expansion. India has entered, I believe, an allocation phase. The question is no longer how much should we spend, It's where we should spend each rupee. Traditional fell 739 crores even as ADEX grew. FMCG cut 779 crores from traditional and relocated to digital, 58% to digital, 32% TV, and 10% others, not just scaling budgets. Weak media strategies will underperform even at higher spend levels. Market share gains will come from allocation efficiency, not budget escalation. Clear channel roles become non negotiable. Each medium must have a defined job in the system. 2025 marks the end of habit driven media planning. Every rupee must behave like capital, not add budget. Allocate with intention, measure with rigor, and reallocate based on evidence. The old model was channelless with siloed KPIs. The new model is systems of effects, even with integrated measurement. The old model was TV for reach, print for credibility, digital for performance, measured in GRPs, circulation, and clicks. Each medium judged on its own metrics with no visibility into how they work together. In the new model, we have to build media architectures around three jobs: attention, system, sustained presence across large screen, print, radio, audio. Response system is search, social, e-commerce, QCom, retail media. Each medium has an explicit role and it's judged on contribution to the full system. Why this matters? In a 60% digital market, planning must start with what job media must do. Which environments do these jobs best, not what the GRP target should be. System thinking replaces this siloed thinking. Contribution analysis replaces last quick attribution. This level of sophistication is mandatory now because the markets are maturing. The key message then should be India's media market is maturing and maturity punishes bad allocation immediately. Growth rates normalizing from 20% and higher growth to 7 to 12% in 24-25. Advertiser base consolidating. Top 50 control 34% of ADEX. Platform complexity is rising. 40 plus platforms, multiple formats, and fragmented audiences. What maturity demands? Three things. One, explicit trade offs: digital versus TV, linear versus CTV, brand versus performance, tier 1 versus tier 2, 3. Every allocation is a choice with an opportunity cost. 2, measurement rigor, attribution incrementality, contribution analysis. It's worked is not good enough anymore. Planning sophistication, multi-touch attribution, marketing mix modeling, test and learn frameworks. In a high growth market, mistakes get covered by rising tide. In a maturing market, bad allocation gets punished immediately. Sophistication is no longer a nice to have, it's a survival requirement. One area where sophistication is now mandatory is retail media. E-commerce plus Q-commerce is no longer optional. They are mandatory infrastructure for conversion-driven categories. E-commerce plus Q-commerce reached 14,257 crores in 25 By 27, this will likely cross 2000 crores. This is not a side channel, it's a primary growth engine. Four reasons why this is mandatory. One, full funnel capability, awareness, consideration, and purchase in one ecosystem. Two, closed loop measurement. See exact sales lift from ad spend. Three, precision targeting, behavioral data, purchase history, location based. Four, speed to shelf. Q-commerce delivers in 10 minutes. Advertising drives instant trial. Brands must now make an explicit choice: lead, build proprietary retail media capabilities, and negotiate prime placement. Test aggressively. Follow, match competitive spend, maintain visibility, abstain, consciously choose not to play with a clear rationale. Standing in the sidelines without strategy is itself a decision, and it has consequences for share, pricing power, and shelf visibility. The MSME parallel universe. MSME digital is 38% of the total digital ADEX, and MSME plays by different roles. Ignoring MSME means misunderstanding the market. 35,814 crores in 25, growing 21%. Projected 42,976 crore in that radio plus cinema plus OH combined and approaching linear TV scale. How MSME behaves differently. Four ways. One, performance first mindset. ROI, not brand metrics, is the only KPI. Two, self-serve platforms. Google Ads, Meta Business Manager, Amazon Advertising, Flipkart Ads. Three, auction-based pricing. MSME bids aggressively, driving up CPM and CPCs for everyone. Four, always on and agile, weekly optimization, not quarterly. Three reasons why this matters. One, MSME shapes platform roadmaps as much as big brands do. Google and media build features for MSME advertisers. Two, MSME advertisers drives auction dynamics and affect advertisers. Three, MSME sets performance benchmarks that become the industry norms. 2 to 3 ROS thresholds are baseline because MSME won't spend otherwise. The MSME universe is invisible in most agency presentations, but is 38% of digital ADEX and growing 21% annually. You can't plan effectively in a 60% digital market without understanding MSME behavior. So, 7 enduring fundamentals to end with. 38,855 crore in 2005, growing to 40,855 crore in 2026. Attention at scale, memory building, sports bar, the screen matters, and delivery pipe is what's shifting. Point 2, brand building still matters. Performance depends on brand equity. 60-40 rule for sustainable growth. Digital performance becomes expensive without large-scale driven mental availability. Allocation over expansion. India is in an allocation phase now. Every rupee must have a job. Weak strategies get punished immediately. Systems over silos, design attention memory response systems, judge media on system contribution, not siloed KPI. Point 5, maturity demands sophistication. Explicit trade-offs, measurement rigor, planning sophistication are now mandatory. Retail media mandate, e-commerce plus Q-commerce, mandatory infrastructure, choose to lead, follow or consciously abstain, but make an explicit choice. MSME parallel universe, 38% of digital shaping platforms, pricing and benchmarks. Can't ignore this anymore. So the key message, digital versus traditional. Digital share will rise from 60% to 64% in 2026, crossing the threshold by 2/3 in 27. Linear TV stays flat at 2,855 crore, zero growth. Print edges up 2.5% to 21,800 crores. Radio falls 5% to 2,388 crores. Cinema and OH grow modestly at 5% each. Total traditional 62,269 crores. Core digital grows 18% to 63,000 crores. Q-commerce explodes 50% to 6,000 crores. MSME grows 20% to 42,976 crores. Implications: digital share rises from 60 to 64.1%. Traditional falls from 39 to 35%. By 2027, digital will likely cross 2/3 of the market. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to me patiently.